Whether you drive a car,
need a car,
or just occasionally bum a ride with friends,
you've come to the right place.
Join Jill and Tom as they break down everything that's going on in the auto world.
New car reviews,
Shopping tips,
driving green,
electric cars,
classic cars,
and plenty of great guests.
This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, this is the Car Stuff Podcast. I'm Tom Appel. Thanks for joining us today. When you get a chance, check out consumerguide.com. Big news, our 2025 Best Buys are up. I'm no longer pitching the 2024s. Whole new list, which we will talk about at some point.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's always a very, very popular episode.
Yes.
So we have to get to that. So check us out at consumerguide.com. While you're there, you can stream our podcast right there on the homepage, all sorts of other fun stuff. That voice was Jill Ciminillo. She is managing editor of Pickup Truckless SUV Talk, North American Car of the Year juror. Oh, we should talk about the North American Car of the Year finalists.
We should.
I don't have that on my list, but we'll probably get to that after the quiz. And a freelancer. How are you, Jill?
I am good. And I just want to say it has only taken you like 3 years to get my title right.
I almost got it wrong again. I don't care that much.
I get that.
Yeah,
I
should be more journalistic about things like this, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, I pronounced your name right.
You did, but you kind of have no choice.
We're like breathless.
Yes.
We got here, the front door to the building that Talk Zone is located in was locked. No one knows why.
No. So I had to run around the building in 5-inch heels really quick, walking through soggy grass to see if I could open the other door, which I did.
Yeah, you got me in.
Yes.
I'm good.
Yes.
We're here.
Yes.
No one needs to know anything about that.
But now they all do.
A lot of big news out there this week, so I'm going to open with a personal gripe.
Big news, personal gripe, got it.
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch Gunsmoke because they rescheduled that, and we eat dinner very late. And after dinner, the only thing that's really on that I care about is Adam 12, which, by the way, you're not familiar with Adam 12?
No.
Cop show.
Okay, I have no idea what that is.
Cop show from the late 60s. It's excellent. It's funny. It's hard to tell if it's excellent or not. It's very tongue-in-cheeky. It's hard to figure out. But it is like the Blues Brothers is this wonderful document of Chicago in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
Just great cinematography. And there's the Maxwell Street scene with, I can't think of his name now, the blues singer. But beautiful photography. Adam 12 is that to LA. It's not beautiful, but if you like to spot cars from the late 60s and early 70s, everyone in California bought cool cars in those days.
They still buy cool cars.
They do, but imports didn't happen in Chicago. They didn't happen in the middle of the country. There were a lot of cool imports on the West Coast. So it's fun to watch that show and freeze frame and what is that car?
Got it.
What is that car? Anyway.
Did you get to your gripe yet?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
In fact, I don't even know why I went there.
Okay.
Wendy's. Oh, this is why. During Adam 12, Wendy's has been advertising $1 fountain drinks.
Okay.
Any size, anytime, $1.
Okay.
So I drove through Wendy's for the first time in 20 years, ordered an iced tea.
Okay.
It was $3.54.
Okay.
I'm like, why am I watching commercials during one of my favorite TV shows for a thing that I can't get? And the guy's like, well, the brewed beverages don't count. I'm like, oh, well, iced tea's not a soft drink?
I mean, not if they have to brew it. I mean, if they were using Lipton iced tea that they got from a container.
I guess, but $3.50?
That is a lot. I noticed you have a Taco Bell soda today.
I do. That's a Diet Pepsi.
Okay.
I need the hard stuff today.
Okay. I've got electrolytes. That's my hard stuff.
I have caffeine.
Okay.
Caffeine and fake sugar. All right. That's my gripe.
Okay.
Wendy's on my bad list.
Got it. So first Spunky Dunkers, then Wendy's. Who else is on your bad list?
Yeah, and I'll probably still go to both of them because I'm not a very dedicated consumer advocate.
You're clearly not Italian because you don't hold grudges.
I do. I hold grudges.
No.
I'm just too lazy to do anything that isn't convenient.
No. Yeah, no. I hold a grudge, and you would be dead to me if you did something like that to me. I'm just gonna put that out there.
All right. If I charge you too much for an iced tea.
Yeah,
I'd be dead.
Dead to me.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Dead to me.
That seemed harsh.
Yeah.
Carlos Tavares.
Oh my gosh. What the heck?
So
Yeah.
the CEO of Stellantis, parent company of Jeep, Ram, Dodge, Chrysler in the United States and a bunch of other brands elsewhere, has stepped down effective immediately.
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to leave in 2026 when his contract ended, but apparently, like 2024 is the new 2026.
Yeah, and the fact that we know he was going to leave in 2026 is because they've been making news out of this.
Yeah.
They've been making a big deal out of this, new leadership. He's going to help find the leadership to replace him. He's not a young man. He's 66, so he's retirement age. But Stellantis is going through some rough patches right now. They're not very profitable. Sales are down. In North America, sales are down at Jeep and Ram, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because that's the profit center for the brand.
Yeah.
So Jeep's got some stuff coming up, including a new EV and hybrid vehicle, and we'll see if that changes stuff. And Ram seems to have their production stuff in order, so we'll see if that happens. The problem at Ram, and we've talked about this, the Ram Classic is gone.
Yes.
And that was a more affordable, generations-old version of the Ram that people could get into for less money than a Ram.
Yes.
And that was a big deal. And that was a lot of their volume. I don't know if we know how much of their volume that was. The other problem is, maybe, we don't know this, they no longer offer a V8.
Yeah. And, I will say there's been a lot of speculation in the truck world that with Tavares gone, maybe the Hemi will come back.
I don't think so, just because they've moved on from that tooling. It's hard to do something like that.
But have they moved on yet? Because they still have the Hemi in the 392, the Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, that's the big heavy-duty Hemi, and that's also in medium-duty trucks. That's the 6.4-liter engine.
Yeah.
Which isn't the 5.7, which was the big popular Hemi in the 1500. We'll see what they do with that. I don't think they'll go back because there's emission issues there too, and fuel economy standards.
There are.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Ram sales not where they should be.
Well, yeah, Stellantis sales in general not where they should be, and I know there's a lot of blame, I guess, put in Tavares' doorstep about like the electrification of the brand, and that that they say that really hurt sales. Because you have Alfa Romeo that says they're going towards electrification. The Dodge, I keep wanting to call it the Dart.
Maserati was going to go all electric soon.
Yeah, but I was trying to talk about the car that you love, the
Dart,
not the Dart, the
Hornet.
The Hornet. With the PHEV, and Alfa Romeo Tonale with the PHEV, and Fiat going EV.
Those are probably technically disasters. Yeah. I don't think the Tonale sells at all, and I don't think that the plug-in hybrid version of the Hornet sells at all.
Yeah, well, I hadn't seen the Hornet on the road at all, and then since we had our Hornet conversations, it's like every time I turn around, there's a Hornet.
Yeah, good-looking vehicle, too. And I enjoyed driving the GT. That vehicle, and that's another problem, too. I'm not sure Dodge is a volume brand anymore. I think they skipped a generation. They were associated strictly with performance vehicles, and I don't know that people turn to Dodge for a vehicle they want to drive every day.
Yeah. Well, so, I'll be very curious. As you know, I'm heading to Phoenix this weekend with the Dodge Charger Daytona first drive that I'm going to be covering.
The Charger Daytona is the electric replacement for the old Charger. Daytona specifically, and there's going to be a gasoline version of that.
So I'm heading out to look at the Charger, the new Charger, and I'll be honest with you, I have not completely read all of the specs for this yet. But so I'll have more information next week that, we probably won't be able to talk about next week. But in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to talk about what I learned. And so if you have any questions for the people at Dodge, Tom, let me know. And if you people have questions, let us know.
Interesting thing about that vehicle, because the Daytona was so performance oriented.
Yeah.
It's possible that people will make the transition to an EV just to get that performance.
Yeah.
They won't think of it as a commuter car or a daily driver. And we'll see. And then they're going to do an ICE, an internal combustion engine version of that with the new Hurricane Inline 6, which is actually stronger than most of the old V8 Hemis.
Yeah. We'll
see if people latch onto that.
Yeah.
Is it cool and modern, or will people resist because it's not traditional?
Yeah. So I don't know. So interesting things coming, but circling back to the point, Carlos Tavares is gone.
Yes, that was the point.
I'm let's bring it back.
Several minutes ago, that was the point. I did a very silly quiz, a very silly poll on Twitter.
Okay.
Because you can't do quizzes and polls yet on Blue Sky.
Well, you could. It just wouldn't,
Yeah. So I'm going to put this to you, Jill.
Okay.
Which is the most prestigious brand? Are you ready?
Okay.
Audi, BMW, Lexus, Mercedes.
Prestigious?
Prestigious. That was my question.
Mercedes.
That was overwhelmingly the answer.
Yeah.
75%, followed by?
BMW.
Lexus.
Huh.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
It's close. It was Lexus 12%, BMW 9%, Audi 3%.
Yeah.
Audi didn't blip. But the interesting thing about this is I come from the 80s. And if you read Car and Driver or Road and Track in the 80s, everything European was good. and like a truly great touring car, road car, luxury car, expensive sedan was German.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see Lexus knock out BMW on this list.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But people are younger than me. So
I think most of the world is younger than you.
they are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm halfway. I'm past the halfway mark on life expectancy.
Okay.
So yes, more than half the world is younger than me. But interesting. Good for Lexus.
Yeah.
Nice cars.
Yeah.
All right. CX90.
Yes.
I'm driving the CX90 plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, the PHEV.
Yes.
I'm disappointed. Amos Kwan had written a review as a guest drive
Yes.
for me. Amos Kwan's a colleague of ours from the Chicagoland area. And he wrote a guest drive for Consumer Guide on the CX90 PHEV, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. And he had some harsh words for the drivetrain.
Okay.
I thought they were harsh, but it's a guest drive, so I didn't call him up or attempt to edit it. I printed his review.
Okay.
Right? I've driven it. I completely agree. The PHEV is not good.
Why?
It is surprisingly clunky.
I'm sensing a theme with you.
What's that?
You don't like PHEVs.
That may be a thing, but it may be because PHEVs are not great hybrids in a lot of cases. But in this case, like I just drove the CX50 hybrid. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Great hybrid.
Well, because Toyota powertrain.
Because Toyota. CUZ space Toyota. But this is an in-house design by Mazda. It's their, and it's not their inline six. It's their base 2.5 liter 4 attached to a hybrid system. That engine isn't especially smooth to start with, but it gets worse. The interplay between the hybrid system and the gasoline engine is bad. The regenerative braking is incredibly obnoxious and upfront. Weird things happen when you decelerate, where sometimes the regen brakes will cut out and you just roll faster. It's very unsettling. It is surprisingly bad for a Mazda product.
Interesting, because I've only had the opportunity to drive that, like on a first drive opportunity where you usually only have like 20 minutes behind the wheel, and I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, I don't know. And I love Mazda products, and I love the CX90, the non-hybrid version of it.
I wonder if you and Amos drove the same vehicle and if you just got a
It might be.
bum vehicle.
They're the same colors.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's a bum vehicle, though. I've read other reviews that support this position. So not a good first hybrid for Mazda. Home built.
Plug-in hybrid.
Plug-in hybrid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you have it. It's a shame, but the CX70 and CX90, I'm just going to blow this little surprise. In non-hybrid, non-plug-in hybrid form, our Consumer Guide Best Buys for 2025. Those are great vehicles. Beautiful interiors, great road manners, good power from that inline six. So I'm sort of bummed about this plug-in hybrid.
Yes. Now
All right.
I want to drive it again.
Yeah, you should. I'll be interested to get your take on that. There's a CX70 version of that with the exact same drivetrain, which is just a two-row version, really.
Yeah.
I don't know why they make that two models. You...
Yes.
Jill,
I
are just back from Lithuania.
felt like Lithuania. No,
Where you-
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen, same
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Same.
both places they put mayonnaise on their French fries.
I think most of the world, except for America, puts mayonnaise on their French
Yeah,
fries.
that's awesome.
Ugh.
No, that's delicious.
Yeah.
But you drove the new Volvo.
Yes.
Do tell.
XC90. Yeah. So.
Which isn't new.
No, it's not new, but it gets a significant refresh for this model year, and I would say exterior grille, like pretty much everything from the A-pillar forward is new. So you have new hood lines, new grille, new front fascia.
I like the new grille.
I love the new grille. I think it looks so handsome. I think they've done a great job.
Very
with
modern.
It. Yeah, very modern. In terms of the back of the vehicle, the exterior taillights. There's like a darker tint to the glass so that they show up better. So the shape's not different. It's just like the tint of the glass. Interior, the biggest change you're going to see there is to the infotainment system. So you've got a bigger screen. If you've seen the EX90, which is the electric vehicle from Volvo, it's kind of the same screen setup. And the infotainment system is different. So if you're familiar with old Volvos, they have this horrible tile system with like the home menu that has like your radio. And
now that we're past it, it's horrible.
Yeah.
I think, okay. I just want to be clear on that because I came to embrace it.
No, it's horrible.
And I want to talk about it for just a moment because it's in stacks.
Yeah.
Literally, the screen is organized in horizontal stacks.
Like audio, phone,
and
navigation.
Then you would either touch it or, depending on the car, slide it to the side to do something to interact with that particular function. And the thing was that 50% of everything you wanted, most of the stuff you would use immediately, was available immediately. And the rest of it was in some sub-menu that was horribly buried and useless.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't hate the old system as much as you, but yeah, it was weird.
So here's the thing. I didn't hate the system until I drove this new system, which gave me new perspective on how horrible the old system was.
Okay, I just wanted to know where the new anger was coming from.
Yeah, no. And the way that they have this new setup is, they have, they've embraced Google built-in. So that's and they have some of the older vehicles with the tiles have Google built-in as well. But what they've done is your home screen is now the map. And then they have tiles below that like showcase your most frequently touched things. So like your phone, your audio, and then they have like little widgets at the bottom that give you quick access to like 4 other things that you're going to access more frequently. Yep. They don't bury anything in menus. I found everything very easy to find. It's very easy to switch back and forth between Apple CarPlay, so Google built-in plus Apple CarPlay. And it's very easy to kind of switch back and forth between, the native operating system and then your phone mirroring system. And it works better. It just works better.
I do want to point out, and everyone does this, it's not just us, and it's not just you. We just talked about the infotainment operating system, and we haven't talked about the engine, ride, or handling.
No.
That's the nature of car reviews these days.
Yeah, it is, because, that's why I've started doing tech checks on vehicles, is because
your lengthy dive into
the infotainment system and the different tech features, because 90% of the driving experience these days, I feel, is like the technology. It's much less about as long as the vehicle is comfortable, not too noisy, and it handles fairly well. People are generally okay with it.
The old XC90,
yes,
which was getting old, was an incredibly nice riding, decent handling vehicle with a beautiful interior.
Yes,
and large. It felt large, even though its footprint isn't especially large. It felt very roomy. For the class, which the class midsize crossover. Still there?
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of Volvo's especially sharp handling, modern era Volvo's. Steering's overboosted and a little bit too much lean, but sporty enough.
Yeah, here's the thing about Volvo, and it's similar to how I feel about Lexus and Lincoln, frankly, is they're much more on the luxury side of the spectrum than the sporty side of the spectrum. So you have Audi and BMW, which I would consider like even their SUVs are more sporty than luxurious. But then you've got your Lincolns, your Volvos, your Lexus that are more luxurious and just more comfortable overall.
Yeah, Lincoln is super into this whole spa relaxation thing.
Oh, yes, the calm.
And Lexus, I think, has carved out a brilliant niche for itself in this regard, in that the cars look very sporty, but they're actually just very refined.
Yes.
And it's working for them.
Yeah.
They have found a place where the consumer wants to be. And even the stuff that they say is sporty, it never is.
No. Well, and so, I really enjoyed my time with the Volvo XC90. I would really like to spend more time with it. I mean, whenever you're doing a first drive, you only get like half an hour, at a time to spend with it. So it doesn't necessarily, you don't get to see how it fits into your life. And but I first impressions are favorable.
There you go. Real quick, we have to deal with the biggest nightmare having to do with the XC90. And consumers are going to run headlong into this if they go shopping for one right now. And that's that the new vehicle is called 2025.
Oh, my God.
And the old vehicle is called 2025. Jill, what the hell?
So they're doing this weird 25.5.
No.
So 25 and a half
is
what they're saying this new model is. And I'm having a hard time with that. In my video review, I called it the 2025 model. But yeah, so there's vehicles that are currently on sale that are the 2025 model is the old design.
The old one.
And then they have the 25 and a half, which is the new one.
And the prices are different.
Yes.
The new ones are more expensive, which you would expect. Available in B5 trim with 247 horsepower, B6 with 295, and plug-in hybrid T8 with 455 horsepower.
That was lovely.
Yeah.
We both, I believe, recently had
By the way,
V60.
that's a good plug-in hybrid.
Yes.
I have driven the T8 drivetrain in other vehicles.
Yes.
All right.
I was just gonna grab the pricing really quick. So the base price for this is about $58,000.
Okay.
And then if you want to go all in with that T8 plug-in hybrid top tier level, you're looking at about $80,000.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a break and come back and talk to Calvin Kim of Porsche.
Yes.
All right. Stick around.
Questions or comments?
Drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.
That's carstuff@consumerguide.com. Welcome back to the Car Stuff Podcast.
And we're back. I'm Tom. She's Jill. This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast. Jill, how's it going?
It's going really well.
All right. Help me out here.
Do I have to?
Yeah.
Dang it. All right. So you do social media stuff.
Hey, Jill, I do. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter X. I'm Car Guy Tom. Recently added Blue Sky
Yes.
to my portfolio of social media activity.
I was shocked when I saw that.
I didn't do it voluntarily. We joked about this. I was on with Steve and Johnny on WGN Radio in Chicago Saturday night, where we basically just all admitted that Steve took my social media activities hostage
Yes.
and basically forced me onto Blue Sky.
Like arm behind the back and everything.
Yeah, but you know what? Blue Sky now is like Twitter was 10 years ago.
I would agree with that.
It's kind of cool.
I'm actually enjoying it.
Yeah, there's like real car guys on there chatting, and we're talking about stuff that is really car guy stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice, and very, very little political stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying that.
Yeah.
Speaking of car stuff, we have not spoken much about Porsche on the podcast, but that's about to change.
Yes.
And the big news here is that Porsche has added an electric version of the Macan to its lineup. The Macan is its best-selling vehicle. It's a compact crossover, very popular, very well regarded.
Yep.
Now there's an electric version.
Yes.
Here to share more about that is Calvin Kim, product spokesman for Porsche North America. Calvin, how are you?
Hey guys, doing very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for making time for us today. Tell us a little bit about what's going on at Porsche these days.
Well, it's been quite a busy year this year.
Yeah.
We had I wouldn't call it record-breaking, but we've had a significant amount of new model turnover. Just getting freshening the lineup. As you mentioned, the Macan EV, top of mind for a lot of people. It is one of our volume lines. And, contrary to popular belief, we're still selling both the gasoline version and the EV together. And so the entire lineup encompasses both the Macan, Macan T, Macan S, Macan GTS. Then there's the Macan EV, Macan 4, Macan 4S, and Macan Turbo EV models. So quite substantial.
Yeah, this is pretty exciting stuff. And Jill and I have had conversations offline about what this vehicle means. And I kind of think it's a big deal. I think that the Porsche audience is probably more accepting of EVs than perhaps many other brand audiences. And that the Macan EV is like this perfect car for the audience demographically and that can afford a Porsche and already has cars in their driveway. I think this is a cool way to go. So tell us about the Macan EV.
Sure. Like I said, we've got 4 variants, 1 battery pack. The Macan's kind of, older cousin, the Taycan, has a little bit more variety in its battery. But for the Macan, we simplified it a little bit. You either get the rear drive Macan or you get all-wheel drive of differing power levels, all powered by 1 battery pack. It's a 100 kilowatt hour, a gross pack, 95 kilowatt hour usable. And power levels range, from basically 350 horsepower all the way on up to 630 horsepower.
Wow.
It's quite potent. We learned a lot from the Taycan, and a lot of that powertrain engineering, charging, thermal management, which is a very critical element to EVs, has all been placed in the Macan as well. So peak charge rate of 270 kilowatt. But more importantly than that, it's the area under the curve. A lot of people are just focused on just the peak number. Oh, it's got to have the peak number. Well, from our perspective, the peak number is great to have, but the area under the curve is even more important. And as a perfect example is the Taycan. The previous generation Taycan also had a peak number of 270 kilowatt, but the Macan has a more area under the curve, and so it can charge a little bit faster, about a minute faster from 10 to 80. But critically, unlike the Taycan, the first-gen Taycan, which required very specific temperature voodoo magic to make it all work, the Macan is way more robust. Again, designed for regular people, not I'm one, so I can call myself this, Porsche nerds that are trying to optimize every last variable, and they know their tire PSI down to the 10th place. Those guys are great. We live off of that. I am one of those people, and so I really appreciate our brand. But the Macan's different. The Macan's got to work for regular people that are just taking the kids to school, going to the mall, just commuting, living their life with a nice car. And one of the best attributes of the Macan is the full suite of customization that you can do that's available, whether you get the top turbo or the rear drive Macan. You can get paint a sample and wood interior and all that stuff, just like any other Porsche model.
Well, that's cool. Let's talk a little bit about the Macan EV too, and where it lives. I'm sorry, Macan EV, and where it lives in the Porsche lineup. It is positioned, it seems, above the conventional vehicle in terms of trim levels and in terms of price. But for people who don't know, Porsche products are also pretty accessible and pretty excellent daily drivers too. Who is the buyer, do you think, for this vehicle, and do they already own a Porsche?
So right now, we've sold the first batch of cars. The Model Year 24s, the Model Year 25s are just coming in now. That first batch are predominantly current Porsche owners.
Okay.
They're familiar with Macan. They've had other EVs in the past. They've got maybe a Panamera or 911 sitting alongside of the car. They just want something a little more everyday. Again, it's a crossover. They want a luxury crossover. They don't want a regular crossover per se. They want something that they can fiddle with a little bit on the configurator and kind of see the results of their work in their driveway. They value the technology in the car. It's got the most advanced infotainment system in the lineup at the moment. It's also got the most advanced augmented reality system in the lineup at the moment. It's got really cool heads-up display, an augmented reality heads-up display that real-time overlays data points on the screen so you know it's all working. And unlike, say some of our other models where you'd get adaptive cruise control or maybe lane assist warnings that would be on the dash, here you can visibly see what's going on. And so it gives the driver a little leg up, an opportunity to react even faster. So that's a great safety point from our side.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, then on the infotainment side, because the system's running Android in the background, it's a little bit snappier. A lot of the computation stuff that in our other cars would be done in the car itself. It's on the Macan, all that the route planning data and pulling in traffic, weather, charger status is all in the cloud. So way snappier. I mean, I don't quote me on this because obviously I haven't taken a stopwatch to it, but it's like twice as fast as what's in the Taycan.
Well, that's cool.
Same amount of, the same user benefit there is, it's not like the Macan has more features or anything. It's just faster. And so I think that really is beneficial to the consumer. Again, like I said, the Taycan, I think we anticipate more Porsche nerds getting to that car, people that are more tolerant of, I want my car to compute and think and do all this stuff. And the Macan, people just want it to work. They don't really, they just want the ability to get in, set the destination, just go. And, both cars can do that, but the Macan's a little bit snappier. Also, one cool thing, the Macan is our first foray into an app store. And so now there's an app store, and you can download games and apps, and so that your passenger, if your car has the passenger screen equipped, they can play with those features while you're driving, or you can play with it on the center screen when you're stopped to charge.
So you've already talked about some of this, but what are the primary differences between the regular Macan and the EV version of the Macan?
There's a lot. I think I'll go over the technology pieces first. For example, first off, all Macan EVs will come on air suspension. It's the single chamber air suspension, but it has the 2-valve damper. And so you've got a damper that controls both compression and rebound individually. And for those that don't know, these dampers are what controls the body motion. So when you reach over and you get in the car, you push down on the hood or the tailgate, when you load something in, when those dampers aren't working that great, the car's a little jiggly, and it makes you feel uncomfortable when you're driving. But since we split those functions apart, now the car can tune the damper individually per corner as you're driving down the road to give you just an excellent ride when you're in normal mode, but get stiffened up just enough so that you get a ton of confidence in the sportier modes. On top of that, the Macan EV is the first compact crossover, I believe, segment-wide to have available rear axle steering. You've had rear axle steering on the Cayennes, the Panameras, the Taycan, the 911 even, but this now, rear axle steering is all the way down into the Macan. So really shortening up the quote-unquote virtual wheelbase. So for those that live in the city, I used to live in downtown Los Angeles. Man, this is a godsend. This is a true benefit. When you're talking about trying to park in some of these tight parking spaces at the mall or in my apartment complex, it's really beneficial. But you get that great turning radius, but when you're on the highway going legal highway speeds, of course, it virtually lengthens the wheelbase. So now you've got this really great stable ride. And when there's an emergency situation in front of you, you can swerve and not worry that the back end's going to come around and take the lead, as it were. You get a lot of that stability built in. That's probably going to be the big ones from the Porsche perspective. Uh-huh. But then from the average consumer perspective, just all that technology I was mentioning earlier with the PCM, the safety suite is much more advanced and all standard now compared to on the ICE Macan. And so everyday usability, we're talking about, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all of that standard, and it just works in the car. There's way more USB-C ports now, so even the rear seat passengers can charge. There's a lot more storage cubbies, a little bit bigger interior space. Even though it doesn't show up in the numbers, when people actually sit in it, they're like, oh, yeah, it is a little bit bigger in here. One of the telltales that we let people know about is the H point, which is kind of where your hip sits in the car, is lower in the Macan EV than in the gas car.
Interesting.
Even with the battery pack in there. Yeah. And that just goes to show you how much more advanced this new platform is compared to what the Macan is based off of. So, again, Macan ICE, still a great car, still super handling. I mean, honestly, I still love driving that car. It's, if you're familiar with other brands, a lot of people like German hatchbacks. The Golf GTI comes to mind. The Golf R comes to mind.
Sure.
The Macan is basically the luxury adult version of that. And I don't blame a single person for wanting one. Macan T's are awesome because the interior is different. It's unique. It's more like a GT Macan, if you will. Very sporty engine, even though it's just a four-cylinder compared to the V6s on the other Macans. Having that four-cylinder there, we have a different front subframe, so it's lighter, a lot lighter, and you can feel that in the steering wheel. It's a lot more dynamic, has a lot more agility. So if you happen to have to go through a mountain pass on your commute, that's kind of the car you want. But then, of course, Macan GTS is still, up until recently, up until the Macan Turbo just came out with the EV, Macan GTS was our top model car, big, powerful V6. And, of course, the GTS interior package with the race text, deviated stitching. You can get it in carmine red. It's just gorgeous. So they're all a little bit different.
Yeah.
We're not trying to make a one-size-fits-all. We believe that, we listen to our customers, we listen to what they want, and we try to occupy as much of the consumer spectrum as possible, and we try to make sure there is a car of some kind that fits everyone's kind of position.
Calvin, I'm sorry, we're close to running out of time. I was wondering if you could do me a favor, run through the trim levels and talk about when the Macan EV goes on sale.
For the EV, we've got the rear drive Macan at the bottom end. It starts at about $75,000. You got the Macan 4, which is the I don't want to call it the entry level car, but it's the lowest priced all-wheel drive Macan electric. That's about $78,000, $79,000. I want to say $78,800 off the top of my head. Then we've got a little bit more higher performance version of that called the Macan 4S. All-wheel drive, you can get it with a limited slip rear differential, and that's $85,000, give or take a couple $100. And then at the top end, we've got the Macan Turbo, $105,300 or so, and big number here is the 630 horsepower and the 833 pound-feet of torque. I'll never forget that. It's the most torque of any of our four-doors at the moment. It's absolutely crazy. In a compact crossover of all things, and it's a gorgeous car. They're all available. They're for sale today. We're doing the 4s and the Turbo deliveries now. And then the rear drive and the 4S's delivery should start in about a month or two. But don't quote me on that. The holidays are always kind of tricky when cars are supposed to come in versus when they're delivered,
Cool. Anything else we need to ask you about? What did we miss?
So customization, I think, is what's going to appeal to a lot of customers moving up into the Macan. You think about kind of the regular crossover. They're available in 3 colors. A black, a gray, and a silver. And the Macans, if you go on the configurator, you'll notice quite a different range of colors that are available for that. We really take pride in the paint process. The Macan not only has to be functional from a usable perspective, like it's got to carry the family and the groceries, but it's got to be functional from a style perspective. We really want people to be proud and happy that they own a Porsche. Customer satisfaction is a big deal for us. And that applies not only to the drivability and how it makes you feel behind the wheel, which, again, that is the Porsche number one, but also how it makes you feel when you turn back and look at it as you're walking away. And we hope we nailed both of those segments. Well,
it seems like you have. Jill has spent a little bit of time behind the wheel. Yes. I have spent no time behind the wheel of this vehicle yet. But in reading reviews this week, big praise from great sources about the ride and handling. So congratulations. This sounds like a home run for you guys. Looking forward to driving that. Calvin, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, guys. Anytime.
All right. Excellent. That was Calvin Kim with Porsche. We're going to take a break. When we come back.
Quiz time.
Questions or comments?
Drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.
That's carstuff@consumerguide.com. Welcome back to the Car Stuff Podcast.
We're back. This is the Car Stuff Podcast. I'm Tom. She's Jill. Jill.
Yes?
Jill, you dabble in social media.
I do dabble.
You got your foot wet.
Yeah, or both of my feet wet. I feel like I actually just took the plunge and dove straight in. So I am on pretty much every social medium. You can find me at Jill Ciminillo. Varying degrees of activity. I'm very active on TikTok. I've started to be more active on Blue Sky because I'm really enjoying it.
Because we have a bet.
We do also have a bet, and I will say I've exponentially increased my following over the last week.
Where are you at?
Like 150, 145-ish, 145, I think.
Right. I'm at 205.
Okay.
So this race is to 500.
Yes.
Unless you want to shorten the race.
No.
To like 200?
200? No. So the end of that story is you've got to follow me and not Tom on Blue Sky.
You owe me the equivalent of a steak dinner.
Oh, yeah.
If I win.
Yeah, for the vegetarian, but which is not me, by the way. It is Tom is the vegetarian. But yeah, so I'm on all the things. You can find me at Jill Ciminillo.
All the things.
There should be a social media out there that's called All the Things.
Yeah, but I am digging Blue Sky.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I have so few followers relative to Twitter. Yeah. But there's actually almost as much interaction. Yeah. And it's quality interaction.
It is. And so far there aren't any trolls that I found on Blue Sky, and people are kind.
They're decent to each other, and there's some mutual respect. None of that can last, but let's enjoy it while we have it.
I am 100% enjoying it while I can, because I'm seeing people on there that I haven't seen in years.
Yeah, that I used to chat with, but I don't see their stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So, all right, it's quiz time, Joe.
Okay.
Oh, wait, did you give out the...
Car du jour. That's my hashtag. That's the other way. So you can, because Ciminillo is hard to spell, so car du jour.
Car du jour. I didn't mention
my hashtag.
Hashtag car spotter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But car du jour is better.
My Saturday collection that I usually do on Saturday, I haven't done yet. I've been busy. But I do have cars. Coming soon.
Okay.
Car spotter cars to share on Twitter and Blue Sky. All right, it's quiz time, Joe.
Yes.
By the way, we didn't celebrate this. This is our 250th episode.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and last month was our best month ever. Thank you, new listeners.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Yes.
And if you want to do us a huge favor, leave us a review.
Yes.
Especially on Apple.
Yes.
How can we have so many listeners and so few reviews?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's like a good restaurant with empty tables.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I have to say that thanks to some of the reviews that we've gotten, I mean, they've been very positive. Yeah. We appreciate that. And apparently we're funny.
So I hear.
Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. I refer to myself sometimes as a humorist, which annoys my daughter very much. All right, quiz time. Today's quiz topic is more fake cars.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am always ready.
We can do the rules now. 5
Yes.
questions plus a bonus question. Bonus question always related to the topic of the day. You need 3 for a win. They can be of the regular 5 or the bonus question.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Today's fake car, I'm going to give you a car and trim level, and you need to tell me if it's real or not.
Okay.
It's that easy. 2025 Chevrolet Trax Premier. Is that a real vehicle?
No.
It is not. You're on the board with 1. For 2025, the Trax comes in LS, 1 RS, LT Active, and 2 RS trim levels.
Yes.
I think that 2 RS has already been added to the top, so they can sell something a little more expensive. All right, you have 1.
Yeah. Chevy trims like the 1 RS, 2 LT, like that's just like
Why?
why? And then
Well-
active is spelled ACTIV.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about it, but yes, it is. But they also do things like 1 LT, 2 LT, 3 LT, and that's just because those are, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
No.
All right, you got 1 point. Yeah, you're on. You could sweep the board now.
Yeah, and you can't use your favorite phrase. Womp womp.
No,
I have points.
You have points. 2025 Lamborghini Urus Abbondanza.
Oh gosh, I have no clue on this. This is going to be a total guess, by the way.
The Urus, of course, is their first crossover. Turbocharged V8 power. They are very good looking on the road.
You know what? At
I see
first
them
I
in
thought it
orange
was
and yellow.
awkward, but the more I see them, the more I kind of like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't, I mean, if someone told you that was a car and not a crossover, you wouldn't argue with them. It's pretty low. It's pretty rakish.
It is.
It's not like the Bentley Bentayga, which looks like a cinder block with
As
wheels.
you say, it looks like a moose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lamborghini Urus Abbondanza.
An Abbondanza is
Abbondanza.
supposed to be the trim.
I assume.
I'll say yes.
No.
Okay, I'm like, yeah, I have no idea.
No, the Urus is available in S, SE Hybrid, and Performante trim
Okay.
levels.
I was going to be very disappointed if there wasn't some kind of, Monty or whatever involved there. Okay.
Yeah, it starts at $240,000. The Abbondanza is a word people might remember from Celeste Pizza ads in the 70s.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Or not.
Or not.
All right.
I don't even know what Celeste Pizza is.
It was like this homemade pizza kit. They were awful.
Was it better or worse than Chef Boyardee pizza?
Rough equivalent.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mother used to make me Chef Boyardee
I
pizza.
kind of remember
It was
that.
awful.
Like in a box.
In
It
a
was from
box.
Yeah.
And
Same
I'm
thing.
Italian, and it was like blasphemous in our household. She would do it when my dad was traveling. Yeah.
All right. 2025 Subaru Crosstrek Limited. Real or fake?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Limited.
Because I know they have like touring, maybe, or they have like their what is it? The weird Onyx, but limited. Do they have a limited? I'm gonna say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's available in base, premium, sport, limited, and wilderness. And in this case,
Oh, they
wilderness
did
is the
have
top
Onyx
trim
there.
level. I think wilderness is a middle trim level up on the Outback.
Okay. Yeah, because they have the Onyx. I thought they had it on the Crosstrek, but it must be just on Forester
I
and.
think so. Yeah,
And
I didn't see an Onyx
Outback?
today when I was
Okay.
building one. All right, you have 2 points.
Woo!
Volkswagen Jetta GT. 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GT. And if you want to be sad, stick is gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, my husband and I have to replace our GTI, and I have to say we are not looking at Volkswagen. Yeah. We're looking at Subaru, actually, at the moment. Used. Because manual.
Yep. Jetta GT.
No.
No, you're right. You got 3. S, Sport, SE, and SEL.
Okay.
Those are the trim levels for 2025. Last of the regular questions, which you've already won.
Yes.
2025 Nissan Altima Black Edition.
I know. Well, I feel like when Nissan does their like blacked out editions, they call them the Nightshade.
Nightshade? Well, Nightshade is a Toyota thing.
Okay, so I feel like they call them
But like someone was using Midnight for a while, and I can't even tell you who. I feel like Chevy did a lot of years ago.
I don't know. So black edition. I'm gonna say no.
No. You're right. You've got 4. S, SV, SR, and SL. Those
Okay.
are your Altimas. All right, are you ready? Your favorite thing is cultural history.
Yes.
I need you to tell me from the list on Wikipedia of the most popular TV shows of 1990, which of the following is fake?
Okay, so way back to 1990.
1990.
Did not watch TV, but okay.
Yep. Are you ready?
Yep.
Murphy Brown.
Okay.
Designing Women.
Mm-hmm.
Empty Nest.
Mm-hmm.
Luigi's Place.
Okay, this is funny. I actually know all of the real ones. 100% for sure.
Really?
Yeah. The fake one is Luigi's.
It is. I've got the whole list here. So we just mentioned Murphy Brown, Designing Women, Empty Nest, plus Cheers, 60 Minutes, Roseanne, The Cosby Show, and I think Empty Nest was a spinoff of Cosby. Wasn't that the elder boy on his own?
Theo? I can't remember.
Theo, Theo on his own.
Yeah.
America's Funniest Home Videos, Monday Night Football, and Golden Girls.
Thank you for being a friend, Tom.
There you go. All right. I don't know why I still have my headphones on.
I actually just like how my voice sounds coming through the headphones. That's why I still have mine on.
Yeah. So, North American Car of the Year.
Yeah. So at the LA Auto Show a couple weeks ago, we announced the finalists.
I need to excuse myself for one moment. So if you could go through that list, that would be great.
Okay. I'm going to...
My apologies.
Okay.
But we got here silly.
We did because the door was locked. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through these finalists and maybe give you some commentary on where my head is at the moment. So, in terms of the Car of the Year finalists, you have the Honda Civic Hybrid, the Kia K4, and the Toyota Camry. I have driven the Toyota Camry, and I am currently driving the Honda Civic Hybrid, and I'll have the opportunity to drive the Kia K4 next week. And I have to tell you, all three of these vehicles are really, really awesome in different ways. You know, the Toyota Camry completely redesigned for this model year, hybrid only. The Kia K4 is formerly known as the Forte, and what I really appreciated about that, and I had the opportunity to like literally drive it around the block a few weeks ago, is you have this really well-equipped vehicle, heated steering wheel, I think heated steering wheel, definitely heated seats, all the whistles and bells, big screen, Apple CarPlay, all the things, $26,000. Definitely a value leader. And then you have the Honda Civic Hybrid, which, oh my gosh, that powertrain is really quite phenomenal. I've been driving it mostly in the city this week, going to and from the gym, and so that's like a 5-mile round trip. And I've been able to stay in electric only mode pretty much the entire time, and so I've been very impressed with that. I'm going to be very hard pressed to pick a winner here. I'm definitely going to have to do a spreadsheet and some analysis and statistics because it's a dead heat for me in terms of all three of these vehicles. Now, for the 2025 American Truck of the Year finalists, we have the Ford Ranger, the Ram 1500, and the Toyota Tacoma. So the Ford Ranger is all new for this year, and we've got the Ranger Raptor, which figures into the mix. And then you have the Ram 1500, which is a significant redesign. And if you remember, I actually drove the Ram 1500 RHO in the Rebel Rally. So I have spent a lot of time with that truck, and I've been pretty open about the fact that it's one of the best trucks that I think I've ever driven. And then you have the Toyota Tacoma, which, Ranger and Tacoma are both midsize, and Tacoma is all new for this year. And I'm going to point out it's the only midsize pickup truck that still has a manual transmission. Actually, it's the only pickup truck that still has a manual transmission. Jeep Gladiator did away with their manual transmission for 2025. But again, three really great trucks. I had the opportunity to drive the Ranger Raptor in the city before going off to Rebel and thoroughly enjoyed it. Did a city review of the truck and going through drive-thrus and that kind of thing. And again, Toyota Tacoma just feels really solid. You've got some great trims. The interior materials are amazing. And the Ram 1500, I've always enjoyed that truck. And for 2025, it just gets better. And even with the RHO, it is... the row, as I like to call it, the RHO, it's impressive. So again, between those three trucks, I'm going to have a really, I'm literally going to have to create a spreadsheet between those three trucks.
Now, are you in a position, can you predict?
Well, let me go through the utility vehicles. I haven't gotten there yet.
All right.
I was being slow because I didn't know how long you'd be gone.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. So
in terms of the utility vehicle of the year finalists, you have three very disparate vehicles, in my opinion. So you have the Chevy Equinox EV, which is a compact, all-electric vehicle from Chevrolet.
About which I'm hearing excellent things.
You know what? It is darn near perfect. Darn near perfect.
Yeah.
Except for Apple CarPlay. Yeah. Which there's apparently now a kit for. If you buy that vehicle, there's a kit.
We should talk about this because it's unofficial.
Yeah.
But it's just a software hack. Uh-huh. But basically, what I've read about this kit, and I read about it because I knew you were going to talk about it. Was that it's basically just going into the back end and flicking on the system, as you have guessed, for the Prologue. Mm-hmm. The Honda Prologue, which is effectively mechanically the same vehicle.
Yeah. So if with Apple CarPlay, that would get my vote. Then you have the Hyundai Santa Fe, which is also a delightful vehicle, completely redesigned.
Love that vehicle.
It's very funky, unique profile, boxy, interesting rear end to the vehicle. But
I have a problem with that vehicle.
What's your problem?
Prices went up like 10%.
Yeah.
Over the previous version of that vehicle,
but
which is a shame. But it is an excellent vehicle.
Lots of new things, 3 rows.
Like maybe it justifies the price increase.
It kind of, I think it does.
Okay.
And then the final vehicle is the Volkswagen ID Buzz, which that's the new reiteration, new incarnation
you guys just need
of the
a place to stick
bus.
that.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a utility.
Well, I mean, it kind of is.
Functionally, it plays against those other vehicles.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a minivan. You're not going to put that in the car segment or the truck segment, so it's a utility vehicle.
Okay.
So, I mean, you have 9 vehicles here that I think are all amazing.
This is tidy.
And I'm like literally going to have a very hard time. I'm going to have to create a spreadsheet and do like percentages because
I would never work that hard.
I'm going to have to work that hard
Before
because
spreadsheet, there's darts.
I love spreadsheets. But so there's, I mean, because we look at value, we look at features, we look at technology, we look at user experience. So there's a lot of different aspects that we look at. And I would say not all of these vehicles hit everything out of the park.
No.
There's something wrong with all of them. But there's a lot right about all of them as well.
I just finished the 2025 Consumer Guide list, and the article is up now if you want a sneak peek before the press release goes out.
Okay.
But for every vehicle, I list the pros and cons.
Yeah.
There are cons. The only vehicle I really can't find a con for, really, is the Honda Accord. It is a perfect vehicle.
Interesting.
My con was that they no longer have the 2-liter turbo.
Or the Sport with the manual transmission.
Yeah, that's been going for a while.
A few years.
I'm not digging anything for manuals because they're not fiscally, they don't make any sense anymore.
Yeah.
When are you guys announcing?
So we will make the announcement at the Detroit Auto Show.
Back to the Detroit Auto Show
in January. I can't remember exactly the date, but it's usually around the 11th or 10th is the media
second week
day.
in January. Yeah. We have lived through a very weird period.
Yes.
Like the period of the roving Detroit Auto Show.
Yes.
And it's just going to have its butt kicked again now by the Consumer Electronics Show.
Yeah.
But it should have never left that spot.
No, it shouldn't have. And, I think COVID played a role. And then, they tried to put it into the summer and have an outdoor-indoor thing. And then all sorts of things went pear-shaped.
We're out of time, but I just want to get to this because I've mentioned this before, and you and I agree on this particular point. If an auto show does not have big media reveals, if you're a consumer, who cares?
Exactly.
Still go to the auto show because most of the stuff you want to see is there.
Yeah.
And the association between auto shows and media content, it doesn't matter to consumers. We used to get news there, and it was a convenient place to show cars to the media. We'd go for media days. But LA was weak in terms of news. But it's going to be a great show. It's on right now.
Yep.
Go to the LA Auto Show.
Yeah, I think it's still going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, as a media person, I still appreciate the media days because where else do you have the opportunity to go from vehicle to vehicle to vehicle in a certain segment?
You still get to walk around
really
and touch
do a
200
comparison.
cars.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Jill, thank you.
Yes.
Snappy show. Thanks for filling in for me for a moment.
You give me the microphone and I will just keep talking.
All right, big thanks to Calvin Kim of Porsche. Thanks to Nick DiGilio, who had me on. That show goes live tomorrow about the same time our podcast goes live.
Okay.
So listen to our podcast first, then listen to Nick's podcast.
Just like you should follow me on Blue Sky first.
No.
And then maybe consider following Tom.
I was going to thank you, but maybe not. And thanks to producer Randy and the good folks here at Talk Zone. Let's talk more about cars again.
Next week.
Next week.
Remember remember to check us out at consumerguide.com.
The Car Stuff Podcast is produced by J-Turn Media.
To advertise on the show, please drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.